Hello everyone, I hope you all are safe and healthy. In this video, I'm going to explain about Love, Must Not Be Forgotten, short story, attitudes and modern thoughts of female characters. So, let's begin. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word short story? Yes, you're right. Short story. Brief fictional prose narrative that is shorter than a novel and that usually deals with only a few characters. The short story is usually concerned with a single effect conveyed in only one or a few significant episodes or scenes. The form encourages economy of setting, concise narrative, and the omission of a complex plot. Characters is disclosed in action and dramatic encounter, but is seldom fully developed. Now, I'm going to talk about one of the most famous short stories in China. It's Love, Must Not Be Forgotten by Zhang Jie. Zhang Jie was born in Beijing, China in 1937. She was the daughter of an elementary school teacher and grew up without a father. Contrary to her hopes, she was assigned a degree course placed in planning studies rather than literature at People's University of Beijing. In 1978, she began to write literary works, and one of her works, which I will discuss in this video, Love Must Not Be Forgotten, was published a year later, in 1979. Love Must Not Be Forgotten discusses the concept of the importance of love in a romantic relationship according to Zhong Yu, which was passed on to her daughter named Shanshan. The short story begins by presenting Shanshan, who is being overwhelmed by thoughts about the issues of love, lovers, and marriage choices that she faced. In this situation, Shanshan recalled the memories of her mother and her thoughts on love in a diary that is called Love Must Not Be Forgotten. This diary contains the concept of the importance of love according to Shanshan's mother, Zhong Yu. Shanshan's memory of conversation with her mother, advice, and what was poured into her mother's diary that she had read influenced Shanshan in determining her thoughts and attitudes toward marriage. Based on the synopsis of the short story, I will discuss the change of Shanshan's thoughts through 3 stages. Shanshan's early thoughts, the process of change through memories of her mother and the Love Must Not Be Forgotten diary, and the final determination of Shanshan's attitudes and thoughts towards love and marriage. The story of Love Must Not Be Forgotten begins with a narrative about Shanshan's feelings and worries because she is not married yet, while many people think she is not young anymore. The reason she is not married is not that she does not have a partner, but that her partner cannot live up to her expectations and cannot make her fall in love. This is what makes Shanshan feel indecisive. Although marriage based on laws and moral rules is commonplace in society because it has been part of a tradition that has existed for 1,000 years, Shanshan is unable to follow it because it is against her own mind and will. Meanwhile, Shanshan was not at the age to maintain her ideal of marriage. This indecision affected Shanshan's views of marriage and made it difficult for her to decide whether or not to marry her lover, Qiaolin. Shanshan's indecisiveness made her recall the memories of her mother. During the process of contemplation and understanding through memory to her mother and the diary Love Must Not Be Forgotten, Shanshan studied and evaluated 2 things: the mother's advice and life experience. Her evaluation of these 2 things helped her in establishing her thoughts and attitudes towards love and marriage. Shanshan's understanding and evaluation of the advice and life experiences of her mothers that she got from her memories of her mother and diary, it finally had an impact on Shanshan's attitudes and thoughts at the end of the story, as an answer to her doubts about choosing a partner and marriage. She agreed with her mother's concept of love, but on the other side, she doesn't want to rush into marriage and wait for the right time and person to marry. This short story is considered a controversial work from the thoughts of female characters in the short story. The female characters in the short story, Shanshan, describes the modern thoughts of Chinese women who live in the 1970s, where they do not want to be forced to marry and against the old spinster stigma who is still embedded in society's minds. The modern thoughts that the Shanshan characters has in this story is actually a message from the writer, Zhang Jie, to the public to change their view of marriage. The conclusion, Shanshan character represents the thoughts of modern Chinese women who live in the 1970s. The short story, Love Must Not Be Forgotten, described the resistance and disapproval of Chinese women against old stigma and feudal values. This short story also implied the author's message and hope to the public that love is an important thing in a romantic relationship. Marriage is a personal thing, and deciding whether to marry or not is a human free will and cannot be forced by others.